Hey, Beer Tube, back for another beer review and a bunch of butchering of names. Today we are looking at a collaboration beer. This is between Saint Feuillien, I don't know how to pronounce this, Feuillien, something along those lines. I'm sorry I can't pronounce it. And one of my hometown breweries, Green Flash Brewing, and this is their Bière De L'Amitié, I'm guessing is how you say that, but anyway, it means friendship brew in, I believe, Flemish, or perhaps French, I'm not sure. I don't know, Belgium has too many languages. I think 4 official languages. But this is a traditional, strong, blonde, Belgian style beer. It says they're using traditional yeast and spices. And for a modern twist, they're using some rye malt, wheat malt, and American Amarillo hops. And they're also dry hopping it with Amarillo as well, it looks like. So I did have a sample of this on tap at the brewery. Unfortunately, you can't buy bottles there. Stone is distributing it, so which might be good for a lot of you who can't get Green Flash beers, but can get Stone and the beers they distribute. So look for it. There's a picture of the bottle. I initially I missed this because it looks like Saint Feuillien, or however you pronounce that. I should have looked it up how to pronounce it. I'm just butchering this. But this beer is 9.5% ABV. So let's get it opened. No bottle cap opener for this one. If you can see, it's sort of a doesn't really have the typical cap like you see for like what Russian River does, what Lost Abbey does with their corked beers. They kind of smash it down on the top. Oh, nice pop. Look at all that smoke coming out. That is awesome. Really awesome. Oh, wonderful smell. Let's get this into my Lost Abbey tulip glass. Try to pour this real slow. I'm expecting a lot of carbonation from this beer. So probably put a little more in there. And as expected with Belgian style beers, the carbonation is absolutely streaming off the bottom of that glass. Very champagne-like. I'm getting a nice straw golden color, just like the type of beer it is. It's definitely a blonde colored beer. Big 2-finger, kind of soapy white head. Probably medium-sized bubbles on this. Yeah, it's fairly cloudy for such a beer. I'm sure there's yeast on the bottom of this. Yeah, there's definitely yeast in there. This is a little too much for me to pour in. So unfortunately my review will be without the yeast. Or maybe I'll come back later and add in the yeast to the review. So let's get the nose on it. Pretty much what you expect for a Belgian beer. You get those really yeasty quality notes. Between that and some of the wheat malt they use in it, you get that typical kind of doughy, bready kind of smell going on. Let's see if I can pick up the hops. I'm not really picking up any hops on this one, surprisingly. They did say they used Amarillo in it, but I think it's being dominated by the Belgian yeast, and there is some alcohol in there, maybe, and some of they say they use some spices, although they don't say which one, so I don't know if it's coriander, but I definitely get I'm getting mostly the yeast, that kind of breadiness, and get maybe a little spice, and a little bit of that 9.5% alcohol. I'm sure a beer like this would age fairly well. This is a brand new release that just came out. So let's dig in. Cheers. Okay, so up front you're getting all that carbonation, and then midway through the spices really kick in and you get that typical Belgian spice notes hitting mid-tongue. There's a slight bit of citrus in there. I'm thinking maybe that might be from the hops. I don't think they use any orange peel or lemon zest or any of that you might find in other Belgian strong ales, but this is tasting pretty good. I haven't had a whole lot of Belgian golden strong ales, but Russian River's Damnation comes to mind as being one that I've tried at least recently. Anyway, I can't remember the other ones. I don't keep track or do reviews on everything. But I do like this one better than Russian River's Damnation. It's got a little more flavor going on in it, I think, than that one. That one seemed like a little on the lighter side. At 9.5%, you are getting alcohol in the back end, but it's not overwhelmingly powerful for my taste. It's still a smooth beer. It's definitely I think a full-bodied beer. You get a nice typical dry finish as you'd expect from a Belgian beer, and it's a very smooth, pleasant finish to it. Some of the beers I've had, it has a little bit of bite, just kind of rough around the edges. I'm not sure the word to look for it, but it's got a little like kick at the end that I don't care for. I prefer a nice smoothness with the alcohol, and I get the smoothness with the alcohol in this one. It's definitely there though. You're not going to miss it. So overall, I'm going to give this one an A-. I'm really trying to find the Amarillo hops in there. It's usually very citrusy hops, so maybe it's just blending so well with the yeast and the spices that it's just not. I'm not being able to detect it on my palate. But other than that, I think they did a very. I mean, this is a very good Belgian style golden strong ale. I can't really find a whole lot wrong with it. I was just hoping for a little more hoppiness to it, being a green flash beer, but as some of you know that have tried their Belgian style ales, they don't completely go off the deep end with the hops. A lot of them are fairly well traditional. Maybe they'll throw in a little twist, but this one, there's not a whole lot of twist to it. Just a really solid Belgian beer, and I think an A- is a pretty good grade for it. It's an excellent beer, but it doesn't quite get into the A+ level. Only because I was slightly disappointed that there wasn't more of a twist with it. But it's a smooth, drinkable beer, even for 9.5%. And so with that, please comment and subscribe to my channel. Cheers.